Please be seated. Welcome. Thank you for attending today's ceremony. I'm Thomas Schwartz, president of Drew University, and it's my honor to be here. I've made my remarks as part of the virtual ceremony, which hopefully you viewed Thursday evening. First, I want to recognize the graduating students. Would you please stand? Would the families and the guests of the graduates stand to be recognized? And would the faculty and the staff who guided these students, the representative group today, please stand? And would you please now applaud each other, because we know that but for all of you, we would not be here today. Thank you. And you may sit down. With respect to our graduates, I would like to applaud all of you for your perseverance, your ability to adapt to the challenges and to overcome the adversity, generally and particularly in the last year. Those experiences will stand you in good stead, whatever life's challenges may be. I will simply re-emphasize what I said in my virtual commencement address. Let us focus on adding to the world's good by being a blessing to someone else, to honor those whose lives were cut short by the pandemic and who did not have as many chances as they should have had to add to the world's good. And let us finally recognize all of those workers upon whose service we so depend and bring good into their lives as well. And let us renew our commitment to help to add to the nation's good by working to remove the vestiges of slavery, racism, and ethnic discrimination, and place the concept of alternate facts in the history books as a blip in the march of democracy. Thank you. I'm very pleased now to welcome our Chief Marshal and faculty speaker for today's commencement, Tammy Winfelder, Associate Professor of Biology and this year's winner of the President's Award for Distinguished Teaching in the College of Liberal Arts. Tammy?
Thank you, President Schwartz. Thank you, all of you. Good morning. I hope you can all hear me okay. This is normally the part where we're checking microphones, checking in that everyone in the classroom can hear, and on Zoom can hear. Transitioning here and seeing so many people at once is quite the adjustment. First and foremost, welcome to the graduating class of 2021. You made it. Congratulations. Welcome to those of you in the audience who scored one of the coveted 2 guest tickets. Welcome. And welcome to the many other family members and friends watching from home today. Before I continue with my remarks, I also want to acknowledge those beloved family members and friends we've recently lost. I am certain they are here today with us in spirit. They live on through your memories and through the impact they have had on your lives. Your lives. You've packed quite a lot into your young lives in the past couple of years. Think back to when you first started at Drew. For many of you, this was the fall of 2017. Close your eyes and think back to those first days on campus. The excitement, maybe a little fear, but mostly excitement. The newfound freedom and independence, meeting new friends, meeting the faculty, finding your way around campus and in the Hall of Sciences, realizing the halls were color-coded and that each floor had a different tile pattern. Okay, maybe you didn't realize that until a few years later, or maybe you're sitting there now thinking, what? What is she talking about? I didn't know that. You're not supposed to be roaming around campus today, so if you didn't know about the color-coded floors, you'll just have to come back and visit us later, and we hope that you do. The first year was a busy year for the sciences. In addition to the already established majors of biology, biochemistry and molecular biology, chemistry, math, neuroscience, computer science, physics, we added majors in engineering physics, environmental science, and public health. We also added the option of the Bachelor of Science degree to the already existing Bachelor of Arts. Moving on, 2018-2019 was a fairly uneventful year, all things considered. You declared your majors and settled into life in the forest. As I tried to think of some themes for this morning's address, I kept coming back to the forest, of course. Our Drew Forest is dominated by the majestic oaks that spread across campus. The oak tree has a rich history as a symbol of strength and knowledge. Knowledge, that's good for a class graduating college, I thought. And strength, that's good too. So I did a bit more research. I wanted to make sure I didn't say anything incorrect about the oak. And I found some fascinating stuff on oaks and Drew and oaks and Drew. In the Drew University archives, I found a program from the inauguration of former Governor Tom Kean as the 10th president of Drew. That inauguration program describes Drew as, and I quote, built by renowned scholars, supported by people of vision, nurtured by dedicated leaders, and located on a beautiful tract of land long known as the forest. The inauguration program later contains a description of the importance of the oak to Drew, and I quote, the oak embodies the seeds of enlightenment that a university sows, the collegiality that thrives on deeply rooted respect, the vision that forthrightly faces ignorance and sophistry, and the diligence of inquiry that flowers into insight. I had to look up sophistry. Sophistry is the use of fallacious arguments, especially with the intention of deceiving. So yes, we must face and stand up to ignorance and sophistry. In that inauguration program, I also found a beautiful passage talking about the symbolism of the ceremonial mace I carried in this morning. On that mace, the faculty are represented as oak leaves, supporting the all-important acorn. That's you, graduates. You are the acorns that grow into the mighty oaks. Fast forward to 2019-2020. A tornado hit November 1st, 2019, and we lost some trees, and a few cars, and a few days of classes. That was pre-Zoom, so you actually got to miss class. And we thought the tornado would be the biggest story of your junior year. Little did we know. You came back to campus in January 2020, ready to start the spring semester of your junior years. You had plans for internships, research experiences, study abroad, and then COVID hit. Spring break was full of uncertainty and marked the end of what some have called the before time, as in before COVID. We had a few days of classes after spring break, and then we switched to Drew virtual time. We thought it would be for a few weeks. Having just returned from a week in Belize, my students and I left our equipment in the greenhouse, expecting to come back and clean and organize it later in the semester. That never happened. I'm sure many of you had unfinished business in the labs and in your dorm rooms. Suddenly, the Hall of Sciences, normally bustling with all of your activity, was quiet. There was no one in the labs, no one in the lounges, no one in the null space or the teamwork space. I wish I had kept a journal during that time. Piece of advice, chronicle your lives. You'll appreciate it later, as will your kids and grandkids, and the historians when you become famous. But of course, I didn't. I was too busy figuring out Zoom and dealing with young kids suddenly home 24/7. But I remember the Drew community coming together, figuring out how to keep our students who couldn't leave campus safe and fed and housed. We came together as a community, the Drew community, the forest. And do you know how the oaks and other trees of our forest survived their big challenge, that November 2019 tornado? Number one, flexibility. The tree that moves in the wind won't snap. We've all had to become more flexible. Two, some plant species readily drop their leaves when the winds get too strong. The leaves cause resistance and put a lot of pressure on the branches. Some species have leaves that curl up when the winds pick up, but others drop them entirely. And we had to do that. We had to let go of what wasn't essential to make it through this past year. And last, but certainly not least, a third strategy for surviving that tornado was relying on the support and protection of neighboring trees. Whereas lone trees were especially vulnerable, trees that buffer and support one another can make it through tough windstorms and even tornadoes. We came together, albeit in a socially distanced way, and supported one another. Sometimes that support was a phone call or email or text, checking in on a neighbor. I remember being pretty much constantly stressed and on high alert that semester, and I remember the relief when a student who had my phone number from a field trip texted me that Stop and Shop had restocked their shelves and I should head over there ASAP. Thank you. You, at 19, 20, 21 years of age, were suddenly the ones doing the family grocery shopping and helping younger siblings with their online school. Hi to all of you younger siblings who managed to run and entertain us during our Zoom classes, only to be upstaged by your pet dogs and cats. To the class of 2021, we recognize the extra work you took on, and we thank you. As we start to open up here in New Jersey and across the US, and hopefully across the world soon, as we return to normal, I hope we have a chance to take a moment to reflect and shift instead to a new normal, one in which we take time to care for ourselves and one another, one in which we slow down a bit sometimes to spend time with loved ones and don't take one another for granted, one in which our priorities are based on what really matters in this world. The end of Drew's mission statement reads, "Drew prepares its students to flourish, both personally and professionally, as they add to the world's good by responding to the urgent challenges of our time with rigorous, independent, and imaginative thought." Well, there are certainly plenty of urgent challenges out there, and we look forward to all that you will bring to the fight. I am confident, having witnessed your tenacity, your perseverance, your resilience. We look forward to what you, the amazing science graduates of Drew, in the year 2021 will do. And now, without further ado, I will turn the podium over to Dean Hinrichs and Provost Lakin for the presentation of candidates. Congratulations, class of 2021 graduates.
Thank you, and let's congratulate Professor Winfelder again for her award for teaching. Good morning, I'm Jessica Lakin, the University Provost. I am pleased to begin the Conferral of Degrees and the awarding of diplomas. Before we do that, I would like to acknowledge the special honors and recognition that have been previously awarded to our graduates based on their academic accomplishments. You can find a complete list of these awards and the recipients on the Drew Commencement website. Graduates, please remain seated until you are invited to rise and come to the platform. Once you have received your diploma, you'll return to your seats. We appreciate all of our guests ensuring that each graduate's name can be heard and that their friends and family can view their graduates by celebrating appropriately. President Schwartz, I am honored to present Drew University's Class of Liberal Arts, Class of 2021. Their faculty and I recommend them to you. I call upon the Dean of the College, Ryan Hendricks, to present the candidates.
Good morning. I'm Ryan Hendricks, Dean of the College of Liberal Arts, and in this crowd, I'll admit, also a professor of chemistry. Before I present the candidates, I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge 3 distinct groups of outstanding scholars graduating today. As I introduce each group of scholars, I ask that all members of the group rise while I briefly explain why they are being honored. Would our Baldwin Honors Scholars please rise and remain standing? This demanding 4-year program admits academically strong students emphasizing scholarship, leadership, and global citizenship. Students must maintain a 3.5 GPA and complete a full-year senior thesis experience. Congratulations. You may now sit. Would our civic scholars please rise? Drew University actively supports students who show extraordinary commitment to community service by offering civic engagement scholarships. Drew Civic Scholars complete 100 hours or more of service annually, participate in special classes, workshops, and off-campus service projects. Congratulations. You may be seated. Would all graduating seniors who have been elected to membership in Phi Beta Kappa please rise? Phi Beta Kappa is our nation's oldest academic honor society. Students inducted for membership must have GPAs in the top 10% of their class, must have taken a sufficient breadth of courses, study a foreign language through the intermediate level, and demonstrate an appropriate level of mathematics. Congratulations. You may be seated. Now I'm wondering, do we have any students who had all 3 of those special honors? If so, can you please rise? Thank you. President Schwartz, I have the high honor of presenting to you the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science. After completion of their rigorous courses of study, the faculty of the College of Liberal Arts recommend them for this degree.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by authority of the Board of Trustees of Drew University, I confer upon you the degrees of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science. I invite each of you to the platform to receive your diploma. Please be seated until your row is directed by the marshals to rise and proceed to the platform.
Yusuf W. Shibley. Urman Sani. Nicholas Mateus Vasquez. Benjamin Gerard Strickland. Sophia M. Abermela. Christian Francis Carbini. Joseph Umana Mora. Olivia Rose Slingerland. Grace Catherine Crozier. Sophie Danielle Sirota. Laura Benegas. Pascal Ginikachi Ibe. Alexander Longacre. Camila Lopez Perez. Si-Hyun Choi. Minji Kim. Joey Allison Sloser. Akits Alonso Larea. Enrique Andres Tamayo Vogler. Dato Sakonia. Umair Saeed. Aaron James Baxter. Barbara Juliana Makulis. Charlie Ann Nolting. Erin Ann Frederick. Shannon Brooke Miller. Lauren Michelle DeLillo. Katiana Noemi Muhalski. Luke Clifford Henry. Daniel George Herman Kellaway. Colton R. Berry. Kyle Garrett Casey. Mahmoud Al-Minawi. Odalis Arbelayas. Natalie Elizabeth Castellon Gonzalez. Aniela Miriam Wadreogo. Janak Mala. Mateus Macena de Carvalho. Margaret Catherine Dwyer. Abigail Virginia Cohn. Danielle Ann Cohn. Kelly Ann Magerline. Violet M. Kimball. Molly C. Ankrum. Lyubov Kanova. Bridget Faith Kavanaugh. Russell David Levi. Raquel Angela Cabrera. Karishma Shvetal Patel. Luisa Fernanda Vargas. Kayla Alyssa Witkowski. Megan Amanda Holmes. Emily Victoria Huber. Grace Melinda Knowles. Amanda Luke Joseph. Christine Masarea. Alexa Danielle Ruiz. Angelo Carlo Angione. Vanessa Page Robb. Shivani Lena Modi. Frederick Opuku Mensah. Valentine Agnes Kplorm Honutse. Christopher Joseph Siragusa. Matthew James Duranta. Molly Jean Royak. Natalie Ann Johnson. Tara Renee O'Donnell. Henry Lawrence Campbell Howland. Ved Abhijit Veng Sarkar. Brianna Marie DeVico. Robert James Sutter. Onosatele Priscilla Ugbenin. Ian Mitchell Davis. Gregory S. Rada. Samantha Lee Coverdale. Nicole Pessa. Kayla G. Rockhill. Caitlin Elena Fleming. Han Nok Tan Le. Lisette V. Murillo. Michelle Bamidele. Akosua Ofiriwa Ofori. Ido.
Congratulations to all of our graduates and the family and friends who have joined us here today, thankfully for this in-person ceremony. Would the graduates please move your tassel from the right to the left to signify completion of your degree? You are prepared to give with not just the knowledge you have learned here at Drew, but with a commitment to your community, a desire to engage in lifelong learning, and the goal of making the world a better place. As you go forward, I encourage you to follow our university motto, freely you have received, freely give. I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and I wish you all continued health and safety. We ask that you remain at your seats until the platform party has recessed. Graduates will then be directed out of the stadium by the marshals and will be able to meet their guests outside of the stadium in the parking lot and on campus. Please be mindful of Drew University safety protocols for the rest of your day. I now invite everyone to stand for the alma mater.